So we continue to get you ground reports on what really has emerged so far after the Mehrauli police has solved the details in this case and put it out in public domain. Primarily, the couple that had eloped and the girl had sought marriage from him. This after her parents had opposed the relationship. They had met on a dating app. They were living in Mumbai, after which they had moved to Delhi and taken up jobs in Delhi. As those living close to their homes have suggested that they had fights often. This primarily over the girl seeking marriage from the boy. And once in the heat of the moment, the boy strangulated the girl and she died. He then tried to dispose of her body. He bought a new fridge for this. He cut her body into 35 pieces. He was a trained chef and that is how he knew it. He bought a new fridge to do that. And this is one of the most horrific murders that has been seen in Delhi. This case that has emerged, Piyush, if I can come to you, you've been on the ground, you've been talking to a lot of people, trying to gather details of this couple and what really had ensued. We do understand that her friend had called up the family and said that her phone has been switched off for weeks. That's when the family had raised an alarm and filed a missing complaint. And the police has now, after 6 months, solved this case. What more have we been able to find out on the ground as we continue talking to more people, eyewitnesses, those who were privy to this relationship?
So you rightly pointed out that actually, and as I speak to you, I would first request my video journalist Vijay Narudeshwar to just show you the images of the flat where actually Aftab was residing with Shraddha, and the flat where actually this murder took place. So I will just want my video journalist to also come along with me and as I talk to you. Now, what actually happened was that Shraddha along with Aftab had come and stayed in this flat on 15th of May. And 3 days after coming into this flat, they came and Aftab reportedly first strangulated Shraddha to death, stored her body in a freezer which he bought, and then subsequently cut her body into 35 pieces before dumping the body into this thing. So as you can just see the images that are being presented to you. Now, there's a lot of crowd over here. So what we'll do is, so as you can see the images that are being presented to you by my video journalist, Vijay Narudeshwar, all this was happening. Now, they had run from Mumbai to Delhi and they were staying in this flat. But meanwhile, Shraddha was in touch with her friends and when she was not getting in touch with her friend, what actually happened was that one of her friends told her father that he should go to Delhi, file a complaint, following which her father did do this. And after her father came to Delhi, filed a police complaint of her daughter being missing, the law enforcement officials got into action, and following which on 12th November they were able to crack this case by getting hold of Aftab. It is, however, going to be still very difficult to crack this case because first we have, the forensic evidence of the body of Shraddha would have to be done. Mind you, the body was found in Aravali's at a state where only her bones were recovered. So this was a very difficult case to crack for Delhi police. And now also there would also be several other aspects that have to be involved. So all I can just tell you is that the Delhi police may have got hold of Aftab, but there are still several layers of this case which has to be unraveled, and it is going to be interesting to see of how Delhi police now is going to get hold of this case as we move ahead. Yes, back in the studio.
But Piyush, the details that have emerged are horrifying because some reports also suggest of how he may have been inspired by a television show. And he was cold-blooded of the details that have emerged. Even after killing her, he slept on the same bed. He ordered food from Zomato. He did not talk to the neighbors. And now, even when he's been caught, he is not even expressing regret, is what is coming to light.
Well, Suyesha, you know what? These kind of cases are not a new phenomenon in Delhi, even though whenever these cases emerge, it does bring a chill in our spine. But yes, these cases are not new. And yes, a very interesting and a very shocking detail has come of how Aftab got inspired of committing this heinous crime from a crime thriller called Dexter, following which he first murdered his wife, murdered his live-in partner, Shraddha, stored her body in a freezer and then cut into 35 pieces. So yes, people do get inspired by such crime thrillers, but taking into cognizance of how actually this crime is committed and how actually he dumped dumped her body into Aravali's. All this needs to be now investigated, and the first achievement has been done by Delhi police in getting hold of Aftab, but now there are still several layers involved in this crime of whether there were some other people also who were involved in helping Aftab, because mind you, Aftab is not a resident of Delhi. To him having committed this crime with such a ease and such a perfection does require him of having been helped. So yes, it would require a lot of probe from Delhi police now to make sure that were there some accomplices that were involved with Aftab, and what actually was the real motive of Aftab actually committing this crime. Yes, back to you in the studio.
This certainly emerges as one of the rarest cases, Piyush, when it comes to the psychological murder and the kind of details that have emerged, because he looked normal on the face of it. She was in a relationship with him, and she probably never knew what was happening on the inside and what he was thinking. And very difficult, because then again she had met him on a dating app. Put out details, Piyush, of how long she had known him, and a timeline of when they moved to Delhi. Of course, how the neighbors tell us that the fights had been happening after she sought marriage from him and she wanted him to marry her. Then what happened?
So, Suyesha, what we've been told by the Delhi police officials was that it was never an easy relationship between Aftab and Shraddha. In fact, even when they were in relationship with each other, they used to have constant fights with each other. Even in Mumbai, where they first met through a dating app, and then also in a call center where they used to work for a brief while. With kind of unease maintaining in the relationship, what they actually did was they first flew to Himachal to make sure that they should just be having some time with each other, know each other well. But that also did not help in the relationship. And on 15th May, they came into the flat, the visuals of which are being presented to you by my video journalist, Vijay Narudeshwar. So over here, actually, on 18th May, reportedly, there was a very acrimonious argument between the two. And in the heat of moment, Aftab reportedly strangulated Shraddha to death. And then, in order to eliminate the evidence, a very ghastly incident happened where he first tried to store the body in a freezer so that it does not smell, and then cut the body into pieces, cut the body into 35 pieces, and dumped the body in Aravali's. And you can understand how painful it would have been for the parents of Shraddha to see the state of the daughter, because at the end of it, all they could find was the bones of Shraddha, which were retrieved in the vast swaths of Aravali's. Yes, back to you in the studio.
It is very painful indeed for the family, that we can understand, Piyush. But even of the details that have come out, he was a trained chef, and he knew how to chop body parts, is what has come to light. And he had also bought incense sticks or agarbattis to keep the smell off of the dead body. He bought a new 300-liter fridge so that he could store the body parts, and then over a period of time, every night at 2 a.m. he would leave the house to dispose of one body part bit by bit in a forest, in a deep forest. And it has taken 6 months to solve this case.
So you just revealed the details of this case, the details which does bring chill into the spine of every person who would hear it. Yes, he was clever, he was shrewd, and the way he committed this crime was actually nothing short of a crime which would actually be committed by a criminal. Yes, he bought incense sticks from and he did it in a very flat where we are reporting from. He did it because he wanted to make sure that none of the people over here came to know that there was a smell that was coming from this flat where over 35 body parts were actually stored. Yes, at around 2 a.m. he used to take off from here at his flat and reach around 15-20 minutes to a forest area over here, and then dump the body parts one by one. What is more shocking over here, however, Shwesha, is that why, despite this being such a densely populated area, how this was being allowed to take place at the first place. There could have been some people who would have got the hint of nothing being all right. even now, if you are speaking to people over here, they are still scared. They are not giving the entire detail. And you can understand that still there would have to be a lot of hard work. There would lot of strife that would have to be done by the law enforcement officials over here, by the Delhi police, to actually unravel the truth. Because a lot of water has now flown, a lot of time has passed by.
Piyush, what has come to light, it is very clear that he is a cold-blooded murderer. I want to ask you more of what the neighbors are saying, what his body language was like, how he conducted himself after committing the murder. That and just a bit before that, Shravan has also spoken to the investigating team of this case. Let's listen in.
As we understand, Shraddha had essentially gone missing for roughly about 5 to 6 months. Would you please help our viewers understand the exact timeline as to when did they come to Delhi and what is the real motive?
From the investigation done so far, what was revealed is that they came to Delhi in late April or early May. And thereafter, in mid-May, this incident happened and the boy murdered the girl.
Mr. Chauhan, can you tell us whether at all there was any scuffle leading to this murder, or if this was just at the heat of the moment? What is the real motive? Has he revealed anything to you in custody?
From what has come in investigation so far, what we got to know is that that night, that particular day, what happened was that they had a very heated debate, and the boy, tried to strangulate the girl with his hands, and he was successful in doing so. And thereafter, he tried to dispose of the body.
Mr. Chauhan, there is also multiple reports that are essentially doing the rounds right now with regards to whether at all there was a proposal for marriage which was essentially rejected by the murder accused at this point in time. Is there any clarity to that effect, that whether at all this fight was all to do with a proposal of marriage that was rejected by the murder accused?
That aspect is still under investigation. This thing will be revealed later on.
One final question that I would like to take from you, Mr. Chauhan, is just to understand the modus operandi. It turns out that he was... Mr. Chauhan, one last question that I would like to take with you is with regards to the modus operandi. It does turn out that over the last few days or perhaps last few weeks, he was disposing of the body parts at various locations. Can you reveal a little bit more details as to how exactly was he doing it? Was he doing it all by himself? Did he have any sort of an accomplice with him? Could he give us a little bit elaborate, how exactly was he operating? Which other places did he actually visit and dispose of the body?
From what has come in investigation so far, this incident happened in mid of May, and thereafter he cut the body into pieces and disposed of it over a period of months. He did not do it instantly, he did over a period of months. And in the meantime, he stored these pieces in fridge. That was at his house.
Have you been able to recover the murder weapon? Because that would essentially become very crucial for your probe and for the trial, at the trial stage also. Has the murder weapon been recovered?
That thing is still under investigation. We have recovered a lot of things, and a lot of things are yet to be recovered. That process is still on.
It's a murder that can be considered as horrific. It is a murder that can be considered as gruesome, and it is a murder that, when you hear of it, will definitely bring a chill into your spine. As you see the images of Aravali forest spread between Chhatarpur and Mehrauli area of South Delhi, you can see that it was this area where the police, the Delhi police, was shocked to see when they found that 35 body parts of a person was spread into several areas of this forest lying somewhere. Now, the subsequent investigation by Delhi police resulted in police identifying that this body part that was cut reportedly into 35 pieces and spread in several areas of this forest, which runs into acres, was that of Shraddha. And the accused involved in this case has been identified as Aftab, who first strangulated Shraddha and then subsequently cut her into pieces and dumped the body in this vast swaths area of Aravali's. Now you can understand about how gruesome and ghastly this entire scene may actually be. You can see that how large this forest area is and how shrewdly actually Aftab was trying to commit this act and trying to eliminate all the evidence of Shraddha. Now, this entire incident reportedly occurred 6 months back on 18th May when Aftab, who was infuriated by Shraddha, who was constantly pressurizing him to get married to her, first strangulated her, then stored her body for a few days in a freezer which he bought after murdering her, and then in order to eliminate the evidence, in order to make sure that the body of Shraddha did not get identified, he cut her into 35 pieces and dumped in the vast swath of